Ed Rogers is CEO of hedge-fund advisor Rogers Investment Advisors in Tokyo. His Wolver Hill Japan multi-strategy fund has gained 14% since inception in 2006. Compare that with a 44% decline in Japan's benchmark topics index. The fund has outperformed 87% of its peers in the past month. Wow, Ed, good stuff. But here's the question for you. Isn't Japan's economy on steroids right now? I mean, huge pump priming, rates near zero. Without all that, Japan's growth story is non-existent. Why so upbeat about Japan?
Well, to address the steroids argument, and thanks very much for that introduction, Haslinda. Good morning. To address the steroids argument, Japan is on less steroids than any other government in the world since March of 2009, when the United States and the Chinese government and the European governments really, pulled out all the stops to try and save the global economy, which was needed. But Japan's in far better shape than all those other economies. And our argument is that in a relative sense, Japan remains underweight in everyone's portfolio. There's a tremendous amount of value that is getting unlocked by the Democratic Party victory, to sort of comment on your previous speaker, and that's what investors need to focus on for 2010.
But you have to put Japan in perspective in relation to the rest of Asia, the world. I mean, Japan is struggling to find its place in the global economy. China fast overtaking Japan as Asia's leading powerhouse. Why would investors want to be pumping money in Japan when they can pump money somewhere else?
Sure. Well, if along my earlier theme, if you want to compare Japan to the rest of Asia, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, it was all China all day. And what that resulted in was a very overbought Chinese market, as far as the equities markets are concerned. And Japan remained the sort of missing link in everybody's portfolio. We have this conversation 1 year from now, 1 year from today, and I guarantee you 95% of all investors will have missed the boat on probably the single best equities investment opportunity in 2010, which is Japan.
We will take you on for sure. 1 year from now, we will be having a conversation to analyze that. For now, though, Ed, I mean, we know you invest in hedge funds, not sectors. Has the basis of your investment changed in the past few months? How do you pick the hedge funds you invest in? What's your strategy?
We look for, strategy-wise, we look for two things. One, we look for an investment strategy that we understand and where we believe that the portfolio manager understands what he's doing. And then two, we look for good businesses to invest in. We advise our underlying hedge funds to invest in good managers of businesses. And those are the two things we identify, and Japan has a huge, huge opportunity set there. In the hedge fund space in Japan last year, 22 new hedge fund startups. The single largest number of startups since 2005, and the largest single country for startup managers in Asia last year. The Japanese managers, and more of these are Japanese hedge fund managers, are, in relative terms, coming out in droves to start new hedge funds because they see so much opportunity here. Our job is to help find those managers for our investors.
What changes have you made to your portfolio?
We've got a little bit more exposure now to the trading strategies. Again, I think that the Democratic Party victory just cannot be underestimated. I said this back in 2009 in August. The changing of the guard from the LDP to the Democratic Party of Japan is the third most important event in Japan following the Meiji Restoration and the closure of World War II. It's a game-changing, pivotal event for Japan, and I think the vast majority of people who are looking at Japan have not understood what it means and, quite frankly, how they can profit from it in their portfolios.
So help us understand this changing of the guard. What significant changes can we expect, and how will that benefit the markets?
Well, let's take as an example JAL. It's inconceivable to me that under the LDP, JAL would have ever gone bankrupt. And under the Democratic Party, we have a new government that will allow some of the potential icons of Japan Inc. to undergo corporate restructuring and corporate change. That's a tremendous opportunity. We'll see far more foreign buyers of Japanese companies, and I believe we'll see far more Japanese buying of foreign companies as, sectors like pharmaceuticals, for example, are very, very profitable, great cash on the balance sheets. But there are going to be people out there looking to build better global businesses that are based in Japan. And Japan is still a clear leader in many, many sectors. So it won't be hard for them to do that.
You said earlier that 2010 is going to be a huge year for hedge funds. Quantify that for us. What's the outlook like? They're under scrutiny globally, but prospects seem to have picked up pretty significantly over the past year.
Yeah, well, my view was that, frankly, 2008 was a banner year for hedge funds. They proved their worth, and that much of the popular press outcry about hedge funds underperforming is frankly just doesn't hold up when you scrutinize the numbers and the returns. And I think that hedge funds have been on quite a roll as far as proving value for a number of years now. And I think that 2010 is just going to be another year where they significantly add alpha or non-market-based returns value to investors' portfolios.
Hey, Ed, before we let you go, we want to talk about Toyota. Big news. In your opinion, is Toyota a figurehead or a leader? And is that symptomatic of Japanese culture?
It's interesting. I was thinking about this on the way over this morning. Reading front page article about, there's unrest in some of the Toyota towns. Toyota feels a little bit to me, I hate to say this, like it's going to undergo what General Motors went through as far as having some Michael Moore type character pop up and accuse them of all the ills of the world being associated purely with Toyota and the way they did business. I frankly think that'll be unfair, but I think that Toyota has some significant issues to address, and I think they probably will. Again, the excellence in the manufacturing sector in Japan, Japan's noted for its automotive prowess. I don't think they want to lose that edge. I don't think Toyota is going to stand for this. I think they're going to fix their problems. They've got significant problems, but I do believe that they will focus on fixing them. They will be more of a Ford success story than the General Motors failure story, in my opinion.
Okay, Ed, thanks so much for your assessment. Ed Rogers, CEO of hedge fund advisor, Rogers Investment Advisors.